All right, Mr. Mayor, we are recording and live streaming. Councilmember Greg just joined.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started, and we can start with a moment of silence, please. All right, thanks to everybody for joining. I think this can be relatively brief. Amy sent around 3 options for us to consider relating to finalizing the budget. And as you can see, that it really comes with 3 options. One would be to do a COLA and baseline COLA and for all employees, and then have a little bit of funding for getting people in their right grades, which is a big important effort that we need to do. That's coming out of the compensation study. The second option is to do a slightly larger COLA or higher COLA, reduce the COLA and then put funds towards the grade, but also have a little bit of money that could go towards the compensation study versus having nothing that would go towards the compensation study except for to get people the right grades. And then the third version, which is a little bit more drastic because it does include or require a millage increase, would be to do a 2.6 COLA, which is the Southeast average, as well as what we anticipate the compensation study to call for when it is completed in the beginning part of next year. So just wanted to throw these different options out to you all, ask if anybody had any questions or anybody had any specific thoughts on them.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Waring, I also wanted to see a scenario with a 3% COLA, because when we talk in terms of COLA, if we don't include the pass along of the increase of medical insurance that we have in the past on to each and every one of our employees, I don't think we're looking at the full picture. And the most valuable assets this city has in the waterfront park, in Raleigh Stadium, is our employees. And frankly, we've done a lot of spending this year, all of us. And I say we, I mean, capital W and capital E. I include myself in that because all of that passed unanimous. But by the same token, a 2% COLA, when I don't know, 1.5% of that or so is going towards our employees' pay to pay for their medical coverage. I just don't see how that keeps up with morale. If I'm a rank and file.
Well, I do think, Amy, if you could clarify. I mean, we do cover. I mean, as we discussed on the last call, a huge portion of this tight budget is a result of our medical insurance costs going up, but we do cover the overwhelming majority of that. And Amy, you can give a little bit of color on that, just to.
No, Mr. Mayor, let me tell you, I know that. As a matter of fact, in our financial advisory practice, we used to handle group medical for 30 years. So I know the employer is covering, in particular, the city. I mean, I get my coverage through the city. I know the city does a great job covering medical insurance. But in this particular year, we are, as I understand it, having to pass a little bit of that increase over to, we're not picking up 100% of the increase. So we're passing that on. So that net pay for that, for our employees, is going to reduce as a result of that. And they're going to see that immediately in January. So then we come with a 2% COLA, and they won't say it to you, but the average rank and file employee is going to say, that ain't no pay raise, and it's not a pay raise. They go to the grocery store just like we do. Those dollars not going to go as far in 26 as it did in 25, which is difficult. So anyway, I think we squeezing the orange, and I get that, but I think we need to squeeze it a little bit better. Anyway, that's my
Miss-
point.
No,
Mr.
that's why I wanted to.
Um,
That's why I wanted to have this conversation. So I totally respect that point, and I apologize. I can't see if hands are raised. So, Madam Clerk, will you let me know when somebody has their hand raised? I'll make sure we call it.
Yes, sir. We have Councilmember Gregg followed by Councilmember Parker.
Okay, Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Waring, I hear what you're saying. And certainly some of this increase is going to be eaten up by health insurance. But I mean, I'm looking at my premium. I'm on the high deductible city health insurance plan, and my premium is going to go up $240 over the year. So divided that over 26 pay periods, it's $9.25 per pay period is all it's going up. So it's not even I guess for somebody that's making, the minimum, that's not even going to be 1%, not even close to it. I'll do the math here in a second, but I hear what you're saying. Some of it is going to be, some of this 2% cola is going to be eaten up, but it's not a lot,
Well,
and it's not anywhere close to a percent.
it's less than what they taking home now, and that's the point. Going into 26, I'm talking. We got what, 1,900 employees, almost 2,000 employees. How do we justify as our employees netting less than 26 than they net?
Well,
I
they're
mean,
not going
in
to
the
net.
real purchase
They
money.
won't net less.
Well, in terms of purchase dollars, after you add inflation, you really think inflation is 2.6%?
I honestly, I don't know right now.
Just go to the grocery store. Anyway, Councilor Parker has her hand
All
up.
right, Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Waring, for saying that. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I share all the same sentiments. I mean, I've been, I've been pretty vocal about this compensation study and making sure that all of our employees, are taken care of. I mean, you said it best. They're our greatest asset that the city has, and we need to invest in that. And I think it's a bit. I mean, I know everyone's going to have their feelings about the budget, but there are plenty of things that I feel like we're spending money on that we don't need to, and rather, I think can be sometimes personal opinion or specific priorities, but obviously staff is a huge priority for me, as well as I think other council members, and I agree with you. I think we need to squeeze this one a little bit more and figure out what that balance is. Thank you.
And Mayor, Councilmember Shealy has his hand up.
Councilmember Shealy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask, when we compare scenario A and scenario B, obviously scenario A is pretty clear, 2% COLA for all employees. Scenario B being the 1.5% toward the base compensation. I guess what would be the benefit to B over A with exactly what employees would receive there, or vice versa?
Well, we're really trying. Let's just talk about A. I mean, we've been talking about this compensation study for almost 2 years now, as we've discussed on the previous meeting. We had flaws in the original inputs that went into it that caused almost a year delay in getting information updated and back. And to be honest with you, we're still not done. But we do appreciate that there will be some adjustments needed for this compensation study. Will recommend some upward adjustments. And so we're trying to prepare for that. And in terms of morale, the debate really is, do we just give a blanket COLA across the board to everyone, or do we bifurcate it a little bit and say we give a COLA to everybody, but a smaller amount, and then have some money that can go towards this compensation study? Again, compensation recommendations. Again, this would not be anywhere close to what the full amount that in all likelihood will be recommended, but it's an effort showing that we're sincere about it, and we do want to, get right with the employees. So it's just, is it across the board or more surgical in its approach? All of which I would say, I think we could all agree is owed. And so then that leads to the third option, which again, a little bit more draconian. And that is, do we want to increase millage? I mean, this year with the reassessment, we have a reduction in millage because of the money's going back to homeowners. And while this would be, I guess, technically raising taxes, is this something that we want to consider?
Gotcha. Now, both A and B both bring people to the minimum of their grade, at least. Is that correct? Both A and B?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Very good. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Parker has her hand up.
Yep. Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That I may have missed the the sales tax option. What was the decision there? So you're saying all of it is being returned?
Yeah, so that we've done that. That's been a pretty standard protocol for 40 years for the city of Charleston to give back local option sales tax, but then also when you have a reassessment on property taxes, which is separate, that we're limited in how much it can go up year over year. So, we're kind of capped at that, but we have a right, if we wanted to increase millage, we could do that, but that is raising taxes.
Okay. What about, I know we talked about, looking at, a phased approach to some of the study pieces. I mean, was there any part of that sort of discussed to where we might be able to still hit that COLA mark, but have some monies set aside to implement the comp study, strategically, as well as with some of the pay advancement and some of the other things that were kind of in the works?
So that's in essence what this is. We just didn't know until pretty recently, the impact of our expenses, particularly the health insurance. So, that kind of blew a hole in what we were setting aside for the compensation study without having a finalized product to tell us exactly what that number was. Then it got blown up by the health insurance. So what we're doing here is just giving, again, 3 options where you can have some money that goes towards compensation study or COLA. Or, if we want to go in full boat, that will require a millage increase.
Just
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
I apologize. Quick follow-up. I mean, again, I understand you're giving us those 2 options, but we can also move things around in the budget.
Well, we've been moving things around pretty aggressively and talking about them over the past several meetings. And when it comes to what this budget is, there's very few, pretty nominal actually, new programs. It's existing programs with year over year increases associated with keeping them going. and very little. I mean, I think there was how much, Amy? $20 million in new budget requests, that virtually none of which can be funded.
That's right.
So we've been squeezing it pretty aggressively. And if you want to, if the idea is to cut some of our existing programs in order to fund this difference, that'll take some additional time and commitment to flush out where those should be cut, again, because it would be going in the opposite direction from what a lot of the staff is requesting.
What do you mean what the staff has requested?
So the staff,
it's,
again,
right, they're programming. I see what you're saying, but I mean, a lot of that isn't even being funded regardless. So I was just thinking more I know we have a lot of big projects going on, and I get that, but all right, so just last question, and sorry whoever has their hand up, but so the local option sales tax, I mean, I obviously don't agree with raising taxes to pay our employees. I think this is sort of one of our major priorities as a city. But the local option sales tax, I mean, I just don't know how it works. I mean, yes, I do believe, like we've done in recent years, giving that back, but we also know municipalities that don't do that, and it served them well. And I'm not saying all of it, but what would that look like, Amy? Can you utilize some of that funding to help with
you could do either or. I mean, you can either raise millage or you cannot return all of local option sales tax. I mean, it's net the same difference.
Well, what's that scenario look like? Because so this year you're saying we're lowering taxes. So what can there be can we see that scenario, D?
Well, we're lowering when and again, this does get a little confusing.
Yeah.
Property taxes have gone up because of assessment, but they can only go up by 15%, right? That's per state law. They can't just, there can't be a windfall. And then when you have local option sales tax, because we apply it, give it all back to the homeowner, that in effect reduces their millage. So the millage goes up for property taxes and then comes back down when we apply the local option sales tax. Does that make sense?
It does, and I appreciate it. I know it's super confusing. Councilmember Waring, do you mind if I just ask, in your years here, and I apologize to keep going, but have we ever done that? Have we ever done,
Very good question. We've never done that. That's been one of the successes of this city for over 20 years since the local option sales tax was incepted. The city of Charleston has always given 100% back, and that's kept. If you look at a chart of our millage rate, it's kept our millage rate below North Charleston, Mount Pleasant, Columbia. And in most cases, when we have had, and you can go back in the history, when we have had millage increases, by giving back 100% of the lost revenue, it usually lost revenue eventually usually compensates for that. So the increase is usually decreased by lost revenue. In some cases, it usually does it in less than 2 years. So plus, I think that's a backdoor tax increase. When you have a millage rate,
right,
you come right up front and you tell people, and if they ask you, if my constituents were to ask me, why are you having a tax increase, millage rate? Because police and fire, just the cost of those two things take up more than all the property taxes we collect across the city. Most citizens don't even know that. So police, fire, sanitation, when you start telling people that, they understand. The cost of policing is increasing. The cost of fire is, so to come up with a little bit more revenue to take care of these people, all of our people, you're talking about, I don't know, 2 mills. when you look at local option sales tax, the economy in Charleston is boosting. People are spending more money. Whether they want to or not, they're spending more monies. That finds its way into the sales tax and eventually comes to the city, and we end up reducing property taxes as a result of giving that 100% back. I think if we ever encroach on that, the first time is the hardest. So we've been doing it, giving it back for 21, 22 years. You start getting into that, and then there'll be councils behind us that'll say, well, let's take a little bit more and a little bit more. And then next thing you know, the maximum that we can take will be incorporated in our budget. And we will never go into the public and say, you know what, we're going to take that. We did it in these close confines like we're talking about right now. I don't have any problem going in front of constituents to say, yes, we need to increase a couple of mills to pay out 1,900, 2,000 employees. I mean, we got 155,000 people, and we run this whole show with roughly 2,000 people. That's terrific. Anyway, so if we're gonna do it, don't do it through a back door. Let the people know what we're doing
Yeah,
and why and why.
right. And that's,
Yes.
Councilmember Parker, that's what Mount Pleasant is doing. I mean, you're hearing about the millage increase to pay the first responders. I mean, it's a little bit of semantics. I mean, you could shift things around and make it all go towards the first responders and cover everything else through general funds like we've been doing. But that's what Mount Pleasant's doing, right? This go around too. So who else has their hand up? I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Appel had his hand up, followed by Councilmember Seekings.
All right, we'll go Appel, then Seekings.
I was going to just raise the lost issue just so we could talk about it. We've done a good job of talking about it, and I will pass the mic over to Mike. Looks like he's got his hand up.
Okay. Mike. You might be muted, Mike.
Councilmember Seekings, you're on mute.
Not on mute.
There you are.
So you got me? I sure
Yeah.
don't know on mute.
Yeah, we can
We,
hear
got
you.
you.
we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. So I just want to weigh in a little bit on the whole idea as looking at getting monies back in the compensation side of things by either raising taxes directly or applying some of the local option sales tax back to the general fund. I don't know what percentage of our employees live in the city of Charleston, but you're going to hit them on the back end with a property tax increase to make up 0.5% on the compensation. It seems to me that for now, and Amy, maybe you can weigh in on this quickly, option one seems to me the best option for now, and then look at how we can, during the course of the year, find some money to really get a robust compensation study completed, which we just haven't been able to do for the last couple of years. But I don't, to answer Councilmember Parker's question, I mean, Councilmember Warren's been here a while, so have I. We've never, ever taken lost money and taken it away from property owners in the city to give them the benefit of that rebate from the state. And that would be, I think, the wrong thing to do. And it would hit our own employees who live in the city. Does anybody know what percentage of our employees live in the city that would be hit by that?
I don't have that definitive, but it's not as many as I'd like. Let me that's way in terms of anecdotally when I'm signing people. There are a lot of people that can't afford to live in the city, as we've discussed, but it certainly would be impactful to your point, I think. Right. And so, yeah, again, guys, this was, I think, a very good discussion. I think everybody's making very valid and strong points. Any other thoughts or comments that I can't see?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, let me chime in again. You actually started on a point, and which I thought was pretty good. Maybe finish up. As a result of the assessment, our millage rate is being rolled back a little bit. Okay, which gives this is unfair to Amy. Do you know how much our millage rate is going to be rolled back as a result of reassessment? I mean, our millage rate was roughly 68 mills, and now it's going to be, well, we hadn't finished the budget, but
I know, we know the millage rate. It's in the sevens, Councilmember Ray. I'll get that exact for you, but you got to remember everybody's property values went up. So
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm really asking for the net millage.
it's 72.4 or 0.5, I'm sorry, is our millage rate now.
And that's after lost revenue been considered?
That does not include the, no,
So see,
it would be
back to
reduced
the,
by
Yeah, what's the net?
7.85 mils for the local option sales tax. So I can give you that net millage.
so see, back to the mayor's point, the millage rate will roll back once we get the net lost revenue. It'll be, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet, Amy, to say it'll be less. The millage rate will be less than it was this year.
It is less than it was in,
So it's going to be less than it is this
well,
year.
I'm sorry, in 25, it'll be the same millage rate as 25 because we did the rollback in 25. So 25's millage is the rollback millage and it will be the same for 26.
So it was 25 less now when we consider it. So was it less, more in 24 than it
Yes.
isn't? So there you go. So the people are getting a pretty good property tax relief, back to the mayor's point, as a result of us giving 100% back of the lost revenue. That's precise. You made my point. My point is lost revenue works because it's been increasing over the
Right.
years, and we're not keeping a part for us and giving people, the part that the state says we have to give them. We've been giving it all back, and that has worked so well for taxpayers as well as, the city. Anyway, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember
And-
Parker has her hand up, followed by Councilmember Gregg.
All right, let me say one thing here, just so I do think this is, I want to remind people of one of the initiatives that we are targeting for 26, and that is, every year, and I think Councilman Parker, you were alluding to this, we don't spend all of our budget, right? We have leftover funds typically at the end of the year, and so one of the priorities that we're going to put towards that moving forward would be to do performance-based bonuses that would go towards our employees, again, based on performance, not just blanket across the board. And that'll be flushed out in the upcoming year, but it'll be based on the net savings from 2025. So just wanted to throw that out there, that there will be, in all likelihood, some additional revenues that will go towards employees, but this would be more performance-based than it would be just blanket. So with that, I'll turn it over to, I believe it was Councilman Parker and then Gregg, or Gregg and then Parker.
Parker and Gregg.
Thank you,
Parker,
Mr. Mayor.
and then Gregg. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you. Absolutely. Want to echo that. I mean, we talked about this tiered approach, not just for, again, for the pay performance, and that I think, I just want to end with that thought, is I think, obviously, I do think there's a way that we can fund a lot of this. I don't think it has to be all at the same time, but I just hope that moving forward, we can just implement that tiered approach. I mean, $500,000, every quarter, whatever it is. I mean, just chipping away at that for that performance review and making sure we get everybody to the appropriate level pay grade can be a tiered approach. This was something that we talked about, a lot. So, I'm grateful that you're still going to sort of move in that direction. I agree that, lost and the local option sales tax and the raising millage, again, wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd rather see, like I said, other things cut out, but I know that might not happen. But yeah, still, again, moving forward, y'all, I just look at, funding this operation. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Yeah. Agreed. Councilman Gregg?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to talk about the loss credit and how it disproportionately is received by Berkeley County, and but I now's not the time. We'll talk about that again. And every year I got to beat this drum. I'm looking at my tax bill right now, and I got
you can push play.
I got a $4 million discount on my tax bill from maybe $4 million. So anyway,
Right.
it's just not significant to Berkeley County. And so if we were going to do something, I'd be in favor of these are both terrible options, but I would prefer that we look at the local option sales tax credit over raising millage. But I like scenario A at this point and see where we can start taking a razor to see if we can make some improvements on the spending side this year.
Agreed. 100%. All right. Who else? Any other commentary? I think can anyone else have their hand up? I
No,
think
sir.
what I'd propose. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No one else has their
Somebody
hands.
does.
No, sir.
Okay. I'll just say that I agree with. I mean, I've thought a lot about this and going back and forth, and I do think, with understanding how tight our numbers are, I do think we need to look at spending. And again, we've been looking at spending. It's not that wasn't part of the equation at all here, but in terms of just understanding how tight this budget was, I think it's going to warrant in the upcoming year really digging into that more. And I think we all agree that we are pretty focused on figuring out how to pay our employees what they're worth and figure out ways to reward them for going above and beyond. And so what I would recommend and would make a motion for is that we move forward with option A, and we look to figure out how to formalize the performance-based bonuses based on savings, and we also dig into spending. And any funds that we can find on spending, we would also look to apply towards the compensation recommendations.
I'll second that if that's a motion.
I got some discussion.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see a scenario with a 3% COLA. And if you're going to look at expenses, we have not been shown that. And I think we're just fooling ourselves with a 2% COLA, thinking that our people are going to be, warm and fuzzy about that. Not that 3% is warm and fuzzy. So I think prior to, and of course we'll have the workshop again on Monday, but prior to first reading, all of us are entitled to see what does a 3% COLA look like. And then if you're going to sharpen the pencil on expenses, I'm okay with that too. But I don't think there's any action steps with trying to keep employees basically equal with inflation in 27. And A, B, or C really doesn't do that.
Well, again, I think just in fairness, we certainly can get the COLA at 3%. I mean, and it's a pretty simple math calculation. I think, Amy, you can probably do it while we're on the phone. But in terms of what the COLA is, I do think we need to peg it to some industry standard. And that's where I think the 2.6 is the Southeastern standard. Now, we can argue that that's not enough and it's more expensive here versus, say, Greenville or wherever, but then you get into more just subjective.
All due respect, Mr. Mayor, I would agree with you if it wasn't a pass-through on health insurance increase. But it is a pass-through on health insurance increase. And industry standards is not taking that into account in these specific employees' cases. As a matter of fact,
Sure.
Health care
Fair enough. Fair point.
And in that.
Fair point. Okay, well, we can certainly get that information, and I'm assuming we can make adjustments. And there, I may have an additional adjustment. Just want to put this out there. I don't know enough to really give you any details on it, but there might be a little bit of extra money that I might need to put in for the HR department, because we're really, a lot of the details and this effort falls on certainly BFRC, but very much on HR. And we've had a lot of turnover, as you all know, in that department, and need some training and some other things that we don't have final numbers on. But so where I'm going with all of this is that I think we move forward with a baseline of, I'm suggesting A, and then have a few options in details to be flushed out even before first reading, but certainly by second reading, if that suits the ad hoc committee.
Let me ask a question about that, Mr. Mayor. If we coming up with a few more dollars for HR, why can't they wait until the compensation study gets done like everybody else has to wait?
Well, again, that's a very good point, and I need to be honest with you, I don't have all of the details on that. It's been going back and forth via email past 2 days, so I need to get a little bit more clarification from my staff on it. But I'm with you. We're certainly not looking at putting favorites, one group over the other. The only nuance there is with HR in terms of implementation and the structure of the compensation study. That's something we need HR to be staffed for, right? So anyway.
Mr. Mayor.
But certainly
Councilmember
not going to
Clark.
pick winners and losers there. Yeah. Councilwoman Parker?
I know that there's a motion on the floor, but Councilmember Waring, are you making a motion?
No,
I would.
the mayor made a motion. Had discussion doing the motion.
Okay, but I mean, I'd like to see it as well.
So, Mr. Mayor, are we going to get to see? I mean, we're going to meet
Yes.
Monday.
We will get this. We will get a 3%. We will get a 3% analysis too. So it would be a delta to option A, and then any other items that would need to be discussed will be included in that baseline of item A for us to make an informed decision off of.
One other thing I would ask is that, because it came up a couple of times in this discussion, I guess what our millage has been, I know 23, 24, 25, and I guess maybe 26, because the point that you made, which I thought was very crucial, in particular, our net millage rate after, lost revenue and assessment is going to be less than it was a year in 24.
Yeah, we could do it. We could do a breakdown on that. We could do a breakdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Gregg has his hand up.
Yep, Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you. Sorry. So if we do just looking at the numbers here on the slide, or one of the previous slides, if we do a 3% COLA, we're going to be $975,000 in the negative.
Right.
That would require a $500,000 increase, Councilmember Gregg.
Okay. So I just want to put that out there. I mean, it's not the 3.4 million would be 5.1 million or something.
But a $500,000 increase?
Yes, it's a $500,000 increase to do a 3% COLA.
$500,000 increase. Come on, man. What are we talking about? That'll be absorbed by local option sales tax in 12 months. More than absorbed.
And, while we're putting more information on the table for us to make a decision, I remember a few years ago when we were having some tight budgets, we actually crunched some numbers in real world examples as to like what a $500,000 increase, what that amounts to for a $500,000 house at 4%, or a $2 million commercial piece of property at $2 million. So I think it's very important as we're having these discussions, we're talking about some real life, real world, actual numbers when all the net, the net of the lost and credit and all these things come into play. So we're not just talking in abstract about, property tax increases and scaring people. I mean, my intuition is that a $500,000 property tax increase is going to be so negligible that most people wouldn't even notice it.
I agree.
I'm not saying I support it.
There still will be a headline. There still will be a headline.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm not saying I support raising it. I'm just saying, like, just so we can get since we're all in the mood of getting all the information on the table.
Okay. So I think we can include a real life. I mean, based on $1 million or $500,000 house.
Yeah.
Based on the 600,000, based on the
Mayor.
$600,000 house, the increase would be $11.40.
People in the streets,
Or 50,
they're coming.
Yes. So it'd be $55 a year for a $500,000 house. Is that right, Amy?
No, it's for a $600,000 house, it's $11.40.
Oh, I thought you said 100,000. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. But we'll include that as just part of package, if you will. And then, was there another question?
Yes, Councilmember Gregg has his hand up.
Yeah, I look, I hear what
Councilmember
you're
Gregg.
saying, and I understand it's only $11.40, but if we're gonna do that, then I want to look at an option where we stop with this lost credit as a sacred cow or whatever we're calling it. Some of the loss, we need to split the difference then or something. So that's
Yeah, man.
I know I'm in the minority.
It hits Berkeley County to your point. Yeah.
I'm the only Berkeley County representative, or I guess Mike's a half a Berkeley County representative, but that's what I'm asking. So I'm certain I won't get it.
Greg, I would like to see that as well. So I do agree with you. So thank you. I'd like to see this scenario.
Okay, so we'll put these three different added details together. But I do think, just again, in order to make sure that we adhere to the timing with getting this in the paper, we do have 3 readings of this, so we can make adjustments. But and we're kind of narrowing this down. So I made the motion to use the baseline for A, and then we can come back with other details and make amendments as appropriate. And that's been seconded.
Well, I got my hand up, and I know the vote will probably
Oh,
carry,
sorry.
but let me say this: the piece on Berkeley County, Councilmember Gregg has been saying that for a while. And on the other side of this, I guess we need to drill down on what we can do as a city to address that imbalance. I mean, he's right about that. And representing his group, bringing it to the table. We talk about it, but what's the action steps? Not for the answer today. What's the action steps to get that corrected? And then when we do have a first reading, Mr. Mayor, on the budget, usually everything is intact when we give that first reading. And as far as adjustments on the fly for second and third, it's usually the first after the first reading is normally a formality. So I would hope whatever we got to nail down, let's nail it down prior to the first reading of the budget.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember
Councilman
Seekings.
Seekings. I agree with you on that, Count. Yeah, go ahead. Seekings and Nanu.
So just to respond to Councilmember Waring, what we need to do collectively on the Berkeley County side of things is get some relief from the state, because it's formulaic on the monies that come back to us, and it's based on sales tax collected by county. And so right now, this may change 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road, but per capita, Berkeley County doesn't collect as much as Charleston County does. And there's probably a reason for that, one of which is we get 8 million tourists in Charleston County that Berkeley County doesn't see the benefit of. So we need to change the formula, and there's ways to do it, but we can't do it alone. It's going to have to take some collective effort, not just from Councilmember Gregg, who's 100% a Berkeley County representative, but I'm 100%, 50% for my constituents. We're going to need the whole city council to go and get that leveled out.
I hear you, Councilmember, and thanks for that explanation. But let's get with our friends in North Charleston. They probably have a similar problem with Charleston County and Dorchester County, because they're parts of North Charleston that's in Dorchester County. I wonder if they're having the same problem. So
well, they may, and then just get a coalition from them to come with us to the state and sit down and not leave until they fix it.
Good deal.
I like it. I like it.
Or
Can I please say something?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to send to the paper on Wednesday what our budget is, because it has to be advertised. And then when we present the budget on December 2nd for first reading, we have to present what we advertised. So whatever changes are made are going to need to be changed on the floor first reading.
Mm.
Just a FYI, just so you know, we have to present whatever is advertised in the paper on Wednesday.
Well, that was my.
It will be advertised on Sunday, but we have to get it to the paper by Wednesday in order for it to get advertised.
That
So
was my point about having everything hammered out by the first reading. Okay.
Okay. So with
So-
that in mind, go ahead, Councilman Waring.
Yeah, so your motion now, we're gonna be voting on, I guess, scenario A, but Monday we will be provided with a scenario that includes that shows a 3% COLA. That's gonna be part of the information we're gonna be reviewing on our workshop on Monday, as I understand it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we'll have the breakdown on the $600,000 house. And what was the other request?
And showing the millage rate, I mean, the net millage rate in 23, 24.
Net millage rate. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, right. All right.
Okay.
Mayor, may we do a roll call vote since we're online? And I know some council members have their cameras off.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Are you ready?
would you, let's call for a vote. Yeah, call for a vote.
Mayor Cogswell,
Aye.
Councilmember Appel,
Aye.
Councilmember Gregg,
Aye.
Councilmember Parker,
Aye.
Councilmember Seekings,
Aye.
Councilmember Shealy,
aye.
Councilmember Waring.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay. Is there any other
I
commentary or
have-
questions?
Yes, I have questions. I just want to make sure I understand what my directive is. So for Monday, I will have net millage, I will have property tax calculations. The budget we're presenting will be with scenario A with options for a 3% COLA. Is that correct?
That's
That
what
is
I heard.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Appreciate everybody's time and very good discussion. And look forward to talking to everybody on Monday.
Good deal. Be safe out there.